Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we are. And here we are once again. Son of a gun, really? And here we are once again. Are you serious? Oh boy. All right. Well, all right. Let's see. Who is on? Oh, hey, Blades is here. Kristen's here. Nice to see you over here again already. We got people in chat over on Twitch already. Great. Glad you're all here. How you doing? How's everybody doing tonight? If a woodchuck, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Well, Blades 81. I would say that a woodchuck would chuck as much as he could chuck. That's about the best I could say. So, again, let's give Kristen Seeger a big round of applause for being this month's or last month's, whatever, however you want to call it. I guess it'd be this month's because I had the stream anniversary this month, right? So it was on the third of February instead of January, like I would normally like to. So, congratulations on winning the monthly monster, and of course, if you want to be a monthly monster, you can join the channel. You can I don't have the YouTube thing yet, but I think the Rumble automatically monetizes. I don't know. I think you gotta have 100 people following before you can get the thing. I don't know how it all works over there. But on Twitch, if you are a subscriber on Twitch, you are automatically entered in to the monthly monster each month. So, all right. Anyway, so I've got to get that packed up and sent out. But there it is. That's gonna go live with Kristen. So, pack him up and send him on out. I got so many packages to send out. I will be doing that. I will. It just is. I mean, it was just Saturday that I had the program. It's only Tuesday, so we'll just, let's just be cool, folks. Let's be cool. Take some little bit of time to get things done sometimes. All right, so let's go ahead and continue to paint all the things. We're going to be painting some more backdrops, and if you want to see how good a backdrop makes your miniatures look, if you want to see how good a backdrop does for your miniatures, go ahead and look up you can look up my Instagram. That's one, because there's a picture of that on there. You can look up a gentleman by the name of Stephen Ryder, Rieder, and let's see. I think Cookie's Miniature Services also does backdrops. There's also a whole book. Somebody just released just recently a whole book of backdrops for painting miniatures and having them on. So I'm just loading up a palette again here, and we're just gonna paint this little scene. Maybe going over a little. So we got two little roads here. Maybe this is a pass controlling both of these roads. Maybe a high mountain, little mountain crossroads sort of a thing here. So we got the little path going here and a little path going out here, and we've got like a little canyon going on. Probably gonna have a little water flowing down there. So yeah. So I got a little bit of work to do on this, and of course it's not photo accurate. It's not perfect, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be there, right? Don't be there, be perfect. Don't be perfect, be there. That's a good advice for people, right? Be there for people. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be there. It's not a bad thing, right? That's weird. Oh, okay. I'm an idiot. I swear. Hey, Axe and Axe over there at YouTube. Sorry I did not see you. Hey, Mac Thompson. Good to see you also as well over there in the YouTube land. So I had one of the other services pulled up on my other device there. I've got the Social Ninja loaded up, but it doesn't seem to be working quite the way it's supposed to be. So it is what it is, I suppose. Thanks for joining us there, Axe and Mac. Thanks for being here this evening. We just do a couple hours tonight, usually on a Tuesday night. That's how this goes, and just kind of do what we do, get started either finishing up from last week or started in for this week's project. So let's see. And maybe a little blue. Put a little blue on here. We'll want to go really light blue, I think. I do like that Restream cross posts the two chats. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't use Restream. I've got Social Ninja, and I haven't done the Restream. I think you can do. See, what I was thinking about doing was using my multi-stream and then streaming out one to the Restream, because Restream will send it out twice. So I guess I could probably do that. I don't know. But the only thing I don't like about Restream is it leaves a big ugly watermark with their logo on it, which, I mean, I don't know. It's a whole lot of. I really don't want to do that. But you're right, it does post in two chats. I need to post in three chats there, Axe. So we'll just pick it up here. And if I get anything out of line, we'll go back over it. But I found an app actually you can put right in the back of OBS. Actually, they've got a couple of them now. But one of them's called Social Stream Ninja, and it's got all the bells and whistles. I think StreamYards or Stream Elements has something like that too. Yeah, it's not the sexiest when you use the free version, right? Well, and I've got Filmora for doing some. I was using CapCut for doing my production videos, and well, that's dead now. So that was money wasted because I didn't realize it was tied to TikTok. So now I got Filmora, and I'm using the free part of Filmora, and it tends to have some of those. It's got that watermark on there too. So of course they want you to buy their big thing, their big product, and I've got a couple of apps, a couple of other free apps for editing that don't have that. But that's computer, and I just haven't really gotten into the computer editing. I shoot a lot of my stuff on my tablet, so I just do it on that for that. So use Filmora because it's the first one I figured out how to actually do. So shell out for it to it. Yeah, I mean I probably will. They've got a pretty good price for just starting out with it. It's not terrible, you know. So lighten this up a little bit. That is the problem about that is kind of a problem though with having all the lights in here, is you can be painting a very dark color. Like this is actually a very dark blue, believe it or not. But it looks very, very light. But when I take it over into normal light, it looks a lot darker. So, and you can do this with your miniatures as well. This is something I learned from Monster Den Minis. Ed over at Monster Den on Twitch. He mentioned this the other night, that we work under such bright lighting conditions, all of our colors tend to look very vibrant, right? So go ahead and take your miniature away from your workspace and look at it under normal room lighting conditions. That way you can actually see if you're actually bright enough and do you have your contrasts right. It's just these little tiny tweaks that you learn that you never think about. You know, that's, to me, you know, that's very generous when people share those little tips and tricks and tidbits with you. So, That's an idea. So, but yeah, that's the plan here. So we'll try that, and we'll try this, and we'll get some gray on these mountains a little bit more. Darken that one up in the back just a little bit. Oh, getting off of the path there. So, Axe, what I'm doing is I'm just painting some two-dimensional backdrops here for taking pictures of minis. So I'm just doing that, and kind of approaching it very much like the old Bob Ross, I guess, style. Not getting too excited about one thing or another, just kind of getting it done. And I'm probably going to have some things that aren't exactly right correct. So, I've made a habit. X says, I've made a habit of turning off my desk lights and stepping away from the desk to see how well the minis present themselves in suboptimal lighting. Yeah, exactly. And I think, and that's what Ed was saying as well. So it's definitely a good practice to get into, checking it along the way as you go. So that was actually a really neat thing because I'd never thought about it. And in all my years of painting, I've always wanted to have the best lighting to work from, and the best lighting to see what I'm doing. But whoever thinks oh yeah, this is going to be, you're going to be seeing this under another condition. So when people say you need to bring the contrast up on it, and you go, "But I've worked all the contrast as much as I can." Well, the fact of the matter is, you may not have. There may be more you can do. So they're not saying it to be mean; they're saying it to be helpful. So getting old is tough. We need that lighting. Yes, absolutely. Use bits of cardboard for my dry brushing, and it doubles up as a decent backdrop for snapping pics. Yeah, actually, one of the gentlemen that is kind of responsible for me to have starting to be considerate of you know instead of just taking a picture in front of a flat piece of uh, you know either my light box or a little piece of velvet, you know, and just give nothing to look at it. Um, he actually does, what he'll do is he'll take his wet palette paper after he's done with it, and he'll actually kind of use whatever shapes are on his wet palette and turn that into art and turn that into his backdrop. So um, Stephen Reeder is his name. He's done some work for, or he's done some work. He's painted up some figures for um, Ral Partha, same as I, and he is also in the Build Paint Play Facebook group. So, Axe, if you are interested in some more, being on another, checking out some more great miniatures, if you're not on too many groups already, uh, the Build Paint Play the Build Paint Play group is always open to people that are enthusiastic about miniatures and miniature gaming. That's run by the inimitable Dave Taylor and his cohort Jake Krajewski, two stalwart and longtime veterans of the gaming industry. So If you're not there, come on over. We'd love to have you. And definitely check out, make it part of your Tuesday night. Check out the Build, Paint, Play podcast. Podcast? It is a podcast. Actually, it does go out on Spotify, and you'd be surprised. Of course, probably the first 3 quarters are pretty much a lot just talking about the game industry, and there's some pictures and the like, but but there's a lot of talk. So you could actually listen to most of the show driving to work or going to grandma's house or whatever, you know. Um, so, and then the last 15 minutes are usually just that's where we see all the artwork, all the great miniatures by people. But Facebook time is usually taken up by the groups I administrate. Understandable there, Axe. Absolutely, no doubt. That can be a big that can be a big chore, especially nowadays with there's so much controversy about every little thing. Trying to keep people civil or whatever can be a considerable task. You've done a man's job, sir, as they would say in the old days. You've done a man's job, sir. Ha 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 ha. Right, right. Bully, sir, bully. I try to stay out of all that kind of stuff. My Facebook groups are pretty well nothing but miniatures and the like. Just gaming and good feelings towards everybody, you know. Let's go ahead and extend this on over because this is coming right down the side of this ridge with us. So we'll just do this and we'll add a little bit of light here because it's closer, so it's going to be lighter to us, right? So add a little bit of brightness to it, and it doesn't have to be because this is going to be behind the miniature. We don't want this to be. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be sloppy and out of focus. You know, we're not going for. We're not going to be in the Louvre, probably. Maybe the Louvre, but not the Louvre. That's not nice. That's a potty joke. You don't make potty jokes, JP. What's wrong with you? He says. Oh, well, you know. Um, yeah, let's see. Filmora has silence detection. I set it to 0.8 seconds to nab all the dead air out of our live streams to make them podcast ready. Absolutely, Axe. That's a good idea. Another one that I asked about to somebody tonight on the Build Paint Play group. I met him at Adepticon last year, and he was telling me about an app that you can run it through. And I think he was telling me he used Audacity. So I asked him again tonight, and he said it was Audacity because I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember which one he used, but if Filmora does it too, that's a good way. I mean, I've already got Filmora, so I don't know if it's on the. Is it on the free one there, Axe, or is it on the? Or is it on the? Audacity is great for audio. Yeah. Cool. been thinking about doing like little 10-minute talks on gaming. I don't want to be a big copycat of Adam X, but it's it's not a bad format. I mean, it's very basic, and it's not. I mean, a talking head is a talking head, and there's everybody's got a everybody's got a talking head channel. So it's not. It's probably not a free feature. It's under. It'll be tools audio. Yeah. Of course, it can't be a free feature, right? Axe. But I've been thinking about doing a little talk, little 10-minute talk every week. I guess it's bad enough that I already look like Adam. Somebody probably think somebody said that last year because we took a picture at Gen Con. They said you guys look alike. Like, well, I mean we're both 50-year-old, we're both middle-aged white men with beards and glasses. Yeah, and that's the thing, Axe. Back sometime back, I was floating the idea, and I was like, I don't know if I should do it. There's so much out there already. And actually, Adam said, you know what? It doesn't matter because your take is going to be your take, and it's going to be unique to yours, to you. So, and I had thought that I wanted to do all these really highly produced how-to videos, but I don't really have time for that so much. So so I figure a talking head video is just gonna be probably about all I can manage every couple 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, you know, until I start getting the big YouTube bucks. The big YouTube bucks, yeah, right. Um, but it seems like hobby channels are having a hard time right now. But I don't know. Yes and no. 67,000. I mean, you got your big ones like you got Maniac, and you got John and Maniac, and they've got their Trapped Under Plastic podcast, and I'm like you. I try like that one's a little they speak very freely, we'll say, which is fine for them. But as far as my content, I'm very much of the idea that there's somewhere there is an impressionable 3.5 year old whose mother will be very cross with me if I, you know, it's just a matter of, I think it's just politeness is what it boils down to. Love Jugs. Oh yeah, Jugs is pretty good. Um, Peachy and Louise are going to be at Adepticon, by the way. So, oh, that is not a dark green. It is a dark green, but it's not the dark green that I had in mind. That's the same green that was there, which is that artificial looking Christmas green. It's dirty but so good. Louise is a genius, and she's just a little human ray of sunshine. She just the way she always puts things, and she's like so. It's got to be tough for her because she says she's a introvert and the like. I'm gonna turn off my microphone for just a moment while I shake this on the put this on the paint shaker. So going silent in 3, 2. All right. Oh yeah, I think I met Peachy at Adepticon last year. He was I don't was he there? I thought he was there. Oh, this looks like pea soup. I like pea soup. No Adepticon for me this year. As always, I can't get away from work. Yeah, I understand. I hear that. I told my work. I have a small. I have a. I work for a smaller shop. So I told the secretary. I said I'm gonna be going off to Milwaukee in March. She goes, "Oh, is that that's your usual show for that time of year, right? That's your thing." I'm like, yeah. So my work knows when it comes towards springtime, I'm gonna be taking a few days off in March. So they kind of got it. I've got them sort of. They know what I'm about, and I have no shame for it. There's some people that are worried about their coworkers finding out about it. I'm like, look, I know you all go see the Marvel movies, and I know you all see all that stuff. I'm like, I heard you all talking about Game of Thrones. Ain't nobody can ride me down for doing nerdy things. I mean, e-bikes. Spring is money. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, e-bikes, huh? I just saw a guy riding an e-bike through town here just actually today or yesterday. I thought to myself, I live right here in town. Why don't I have an e-bike? You know, if I just had to go just a grocery run or something, then my car actually gets worn out from not not being used. That's the funny. That is the paradox of a vehicle. Is if you don't drive your car regularly, it will break down faster. So that is very strange. I think e-bikes. Wow, that's pretty neat there, Axe. That's Are those pretty big where you're at? I mean, is that a real? I mean, if obviously if it's your it's your business, it must be able to keep the wolves away with it. So that's pretty nifty. The gold rush is over on e-bikes. Aha. So you mostly just mostly repair them and service them then? Mostly just the people that have them. I'm gonna jet. Got to have a good night. All right, Axe. Good to see you again, man. It's been too long. I think you stream next Wednesday, don't you? Next Wednesday night. Give Axe a follow. Axe and Axe. Give him a follow. He was talking about what were you talking about the other night? Can't remember. Anyway, he has a little podcast about streaming. So give him a follow. Check him out over here on the YouTube. That's Axe and Axe. AX space ANAX. Axe and Axe. So have a good night there, Axe. Yep, next Wednesday. Right on. And that's what, 8 o'clock Central Time? So 9 o'clock Eastern, I think, is it? Because you're in in the north, in the middle. Anyway, if you give him a follow, if you give Axe and Axe a follow, you will be able to obviously see when he goes on. So don't forget to click the bell. All right, let's take a little bit of this black and we'll mix it into a little bit of this brown. Actually, let's take some of this golden brown here. Let's take a little bit of this golden brown and we'll work on the door a little bit. We'll put a little bit of texture on that door right there. So, get this out of my way here. Let's put a little texture on this door. Just kind of zoop, 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 just right up like this. Little zoop, 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 just like that. Not hard. Just a little texture, little difference there in the brown. We'll mix a little bit of this icky brown in here, the burnt umber. We'll mix a little bit of this burnt umber into this golden brown here, and we'll go along the pathway here a little bit. Maybe get a little trail tan. It might be too dark, you know. It might be too dark. Get some trail tan on there too. Yep, and so here we go. Get a little trail tan. Yep. All right, so that's good. While that's wet, I'm going to go ahead and get some of this trail tan out. And I'm going to knock pencils off of my computer station so things go all over the floor, because that's what you do. It's funny. I'm back down to 337 followers on Twitch. I was up to 338, 339 the other day. So weird. Very weird. So we'll get a little bit of this trail tan. We'll get some of these other brown colors, and we'll let it do the thing. Let it do the thing. So once you start mixing the other browns into the trail tan, it starts looking more like a flesh color of some sort. So I don't know. We may have found something tonight. We want to have the road a little bit brighter towards us. A little darker away from us. Just a little perception, you know. little, maybe a little speak friend and enter here. Let's go ahead and bring this roof over this just a little bit more to overlap that. We'll bring this roof over this way to balance out that, and we'll just keep adding. We'll make this look a little bit better, a little more balanced out here, I think. Not a bad idea, right? And we'll add a little gray into that black. We want to lighten up this roof just a little bit. We'll take a little bit of blue on it too. We'll just add a little blue to this dark grayish black here. And we'll I saw the I thought I might have frozen up there, but I guess not, so that's good. So we'll go with this. Add a little blue, a little reflection of the sky, the color from the sky. There. Come out here just a little bit too. Yep. And then we'll add a little more black. Just a little more black. Maybe thin it down just a touch. Right here. So that these roofs are just a little bit darker than the main roof. And then we'll put a little highlight right out there. Same thing here. We want to show that it exists, right? We don't want it to just look like a big old blob. So a little gray, a little more gray right there. Don't want to get quite a matching gray. We just want it to be just a little bit darker. And then we'll just add a little gray and a little blue. And we'll follow that ridge line out just a little. And we'll leave a little black right there just to help delineate those roof lines. I think that's pretty good. I think that's there. So and we'll pick up a little dab of black, and we'll just put a couple of arrow slits here. There's an arrow slit there. And an arrow slit over here on the other side. And if it gets out of hand, that's okay. We'll cover it up here in a little bit. We'll let's see. Get a little black out here. Put another little arrow slit here. And get a little white and gray. Get a little darker gray here. Put a little black in there. And we'll move this back here. Move that back here. And we'll get a little black in the gray and darken it up a little bit so that we can get some delineation between this part of the building and this part of the building. And we'll get a little, it's in the shade a little bit right there, and we'll put a little, lighten that up right there just a smidge to show which direction the light's coming from. We'll go here, lighten that up right there a little bit. Yeah. Then, because our light's coming this way, we kind of want to follow that same idea. I'm going to lighten this up just a little bit. We don't want it to be the same brightness. It needs to look like it's set back just a little bit. So when you darken things down, they go, there's what's called depth of field, and you have this in photography as well. And depth of field in photography is things focus and out of focus. Why does it have depth? We're looking to create depth, and part of creating depth is just like on a miniature. If you want to create depth on the miniature, you add shadow and you add light, right? So that's why we have highlighting, why we do highlighting on miniatures, right? So we start out with a dark color, go to a mid-tone, and then we go up to a highlight color, kind of that Kev Dallimore style, right? He was the one that kind of popularized that low to mid to highlight style of painting. So we do the same thing here when we're painting a flat 2D panel. We can go ahead and it's all right to make sure things are darker in the background. That's kind of what we're looking for. We just kind of want to darken it up in the background. And the further things get away, the darker they're going to be. So and smaller as well, obviously. So now I'm definitely no Bob Ross, that's for sure. But I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be a JP Gotrokkits. So I just enjoy painting. I want you to enjoy painting. I want you to enjoy painting miniatures. And I want you to think about your hobby in different ways. There is no one way to approach hobby painting. Even if you were to wind up making it your business, if you were one of the few fortunates to be able to pick up commissions on a regular basis and provide for yourself and your family with it, or like, then yeah, that would be you would have your own approach, and people would be paying for your approach. They would be paying for your style. So you're going to find a style. The more you continue on painting and playing and trying new things, you're going to find your own style. And somebody's going to say, that's a pretty good style. I like that. Can you paint this thing for me? I like that. I like how you do that. And if they don't, then that's okay too, because you've developed your own way of doing things, and the only person you have to please when it comes to your art is yourself. There's nobody asking, nobody telling you that you're doing it wrong, and nobody's saying, there's no, there's no, what would you call it? There's no code when it comes to artwork. Me, I'm an electrician in my real life, and I have a code I have to follow. Obviously, I mean, it makes sense because they want the work to be, you have to have standards, and you have to uphold those standards. But artwork is someplace where you can cut loose. If you want to make a world where mushrooms grow 10 feet tall and people use them to build houses, then you can do that. You can do whatever you want. You can live in your own world. You can create your own place. I guess I really am waxing Bob Rossish. But I think it's only natural. It's a natural reaction to something like this. It puts you in a contemplative frame of mind, quite honestly. And, that happens, right? We contemplate what we're doing, we contemplate while we're doing it. And that's okay. I was going to say, hey there, but you are a bot. We are going to get rid of the bots. Magnus Robot Fighter. Report you as a bot. Bot, 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 bot. Bot. 106. And we will block. Alright. Bot is now reported and blocked. And I think I can even remove that. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Anyhow. I'm going to add a few shadows and the like here just to kind of make this a little more rugged looking. I think it's kind of neat how those shapes just kind of come out. As you paint. Kind of like nature. Things kind of happen organically sometimes. So you never know how a mountain's going to grow. You never know how a river's going to flow. Path of least resistance and all that. And that can actually be just a little bit lighter right there. Add a little bit of gray in there, a little bit of lighter gray in there, because that's going to be a little closer. It's going to be just a little closer back there. So now this went from being a big globby thing coming right down to the wall right here to being pushed back into the background behind the wall. So we're going to continue to do that just a little bit. We're going to pick up some green and some black, maybe just a touch of brown. And we're going to put this further in the background by darkening it up. A little further in the background. We can probably add just a little bit of lighter green to it. Touch it up just a little bit. A little bit lighter there. Doesn't need to be quite as dark as this back here. We kind of want to make sure that we're maintaining that idea of it's closer here than it is there. So this is going to need to be darker than everything, and this is going to want to be lighter here. So now this would be trees. You know, trees only grow up so high on a mountainside. It's called the tree line. So thank you, Kristen. Thank you. I'm glad that it's looking good. We'll see once we put some miniatures in front of it and see how that looks. See if it looks good then. See if it does its job. You know. So we'll see. We will see. Draw a little line here. Give a little delineation at the bottom of that. Maybe there's a little maybe we got a little shrub over here. A happy little shrub. I'm sure Bob Ross's estate's probably going to come after me saying, you were painting and you were talking about happy little things. Well, I'm from the South. I can't help it. I grew up in Kentucky. It's how we talk. It's just what we do. So I'm sorry, Bob Ross's estate and living relatives. I don't know how to not say it's just a happy little thing over there. That little thing lives right there. I mean, this is what we do. Alright, so let's put some crenellations here. Actually, let's go with a little darker color. Get a little more gray. We'll get a nice middle gray. Not too dark and not too light. Just a little. We'll just mix in just a drop at a time. Just a little dab here and a little dab there. Just a little bit more and a little more. We don't want to step it up too much, because then you lose control. If you just like going too fast in a car, you can lose control. Same thing with paint. If it's not quite where you want it to be, keep working with it and just add a little bit at a time. Just a little bit at a time. It can be a little bit. Don't get impatient. That's probably the most important thing, is don't get impatient. Get a little water on there. It'll just a little thinner. And we'll just run a little line right here. We'll just take some of this overly garishly bright green here, add that in, and we'll just see where that takes us right there. Same thing here, add a little brown. I'll pick up that color right there. fill this area in right here with some more of this green. I want it to look like there's some vegetation growing off the side of this road here. So same thing over here. We want a little vegetation growing here. Maybe some weeds that are just getting a little long here, hanging down the side off of there. Some little weeds growing up around the bottom of these rocks here. Let's do that. That's always a nice. That's always a good place. They like to. That's where there's water that collects there. You know, the condensation at nighttime or the light tends to gather up right there, and little grasses just love to live right there by those rocks. Gives them a good place to plant their seeds. Nestles in right there where nobody's tromping on them, stepping on them, causing them problems. So I'll add just a little bit of this more gold color, golden brown, right down here, a little bit more just to see what it does to us. Oop, got a little green in there. That's okay. That lightens it up pretty nicely though. Gotta say, can't really tell that it's green, but it definitely helped. Definitely kind of helped that right there, didn't it? Take a little bit of that darker brown, just a little bit, and we're just mixing it. We're just letting the mix happen on the palette, on the canvas, like that. So, you know, we're not really trying to mix too much right here on the actual palette. I mean, we're doing that, but at the same time, whatever's already wet on the canvas, just let it blend. Again, we're not going for when you paint a backdrop for your minis. Remember, the miniatures are the star of the show. So we don't need to try to upstage them with, you know, a Da Vinci or a Picasso or, well, actually, I guess it'd probably be closer to a Picasso, really, wouldn't it? very, very more, very much more in the, what you call it, impressionistic style of painting here. We're not getting too worked up about it. Just add a little bit of that brown, a little bit more. We'll add that back in. And just this do its thing. Add a little tan, brighten it up just a smidge. Just trying to give some interest to the brown. Could just kind of get boring looking. So try to avoid looking brown and boring. Brown could be a very boring color, but if we mix in some interesting little bits and bobs to it, we'll probably get a little bit better feel. So and let's take a little bit of this pea soup green here, and we'll just go along here, about here at the near the edge. Same thing here. We'll give a little bit of brightness to it. Get a little brightness here. Because if you go out and you look at the grass in your front yard on a bright day, it's not just one uniform color of green. You'll see yellows and greens. You'll see blues in there as well. So don't get hung up on the idea that all grass is green, because again, we're kind of stylistically, yes. And when we paint miniature terrain and miniatures themselves, a lot of times we do things stylistically, like we paint water blue, when in reality water can be everything from brown to green to black, depending on the lighting conditions, depending what's in the water itself. But a lot of times, at least on the gaming table, we tend to paint our miniatures in a more stylized way. So why do we do that? What does that mean? Well, our water tends to be blue. Our grass tends to be green. Our trees are green. So we do that because they're cultural shorthands. If you say, well, that's blue, that's obviously a river. Yep, it is. Absolutely. It's obviously a river. But it's something that we've been kind of conditioned into using as a cultural shorthand for natural objects. Blue is water, green is grass, brown is desert. Because of cartoons and comic books and the like, children's storybooks. But again, those are easy. They're quick references. So if you went and you put a big strip of black down the middle of the table, someone might think it's a road, because we often tend to paint asphalt roads as black, right? We tend to register that as black or dark or very dark gray, whereas a river could look black, because depending on the time of day, depending on the weather conditions. So a lot of those things, it's just they're things that we're conditioned to. We agree that that represents this, and this represents that. We agree to it, but there's nothing really in real life that necessarily means that it has to be that way. So, just a thought, just crazy thoughts, right? Just fun little ideas. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to lean into the cultural trope of water being blue. So I'm going to paint some water here. So this water is going to be blue. And it's coming out here like this. There's just a little river right here. And we see it coming out this way. Maybe we'll put a rock over here and interrupt. So maybe it's got a nice, fast flowing little bit of a good current going on here. So we'll add a little bit of white here and there. Oh, that's a little brown. We don't want any brown in there. And the white water part of white water always looks uphill, or against the current. So we got a little river going on here. That's okay. We've got a little bit of earth tone in there. Maybe we can see some rocks. Maybe there's some rocks just underneath the surface there. Take a little bit of black and mix it into that blue just a little, just a touch. Get a little black in there as well. Especially coming out from underneath that bridge, it might be a little shady there. So add a little white right there where it's coming out. Maybe it's meeting up with that shore line. And we don't get too crazy with those. Doesn't need to be too big, right? Let's go ahead and put a nice friendly rock right here. We'll block it in with black, maybe. Let's block it in with a nice dark color. Maybe it's coming up towards this bank here. Of course, if you are an energy drink connoisseur, I might suggest you look into using Dubby, that's Dubby, Dubby at w.gg. and explore their custom flavors. Use my code ROKKITFUEL Rocket Fuel for 10% off of your order. Your purchase will help the channel out. Sugar free, no jitters on the come down. Anyway, that's the sponsored portion. In case you saw the label, it says include sponsorship. Well, it's a lightweight sponsorship. I'll tell you that's for sure. It's probably more important for like the gamers, the video gamers, than the miniatures gamers. Miniatures gamers, we tend to like teas and coffees a little bit more. But I've noticed, seems. So just kind of going right along and working it until it looks right. And I don't know when it's going to look right. You know when it looks right when you work on something like this. You have an idea what you want it to look like, and even if you don't necessarily have a plan going in, sometimes you don't need a plan. I didn't really have a plan going into this one either, but here we are. Here we are. It's just a try, just a little thing going on, you know. NDA'd to the hilt. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. I was talking to somebody else today about something. Yeah, I don't know what I said there, but that was odd. That was an odd thing to say, right? Uh, it's looking a little bit too much back there. Let's clear that up just a smidge. Not make that quite so rough up there. Put a couple little splashes here, maybe. A little splash there, maybe. Yep. Hey Mick, what's going on, man? And beer. And beer. Yeah, and beer. All right. That looks pretty good. I'm going to add a little white to this gray. I'm going to shine up, brighten up this front part of this mountain right here in the forefront just a little bit. It's difficult to do with acrylic sometimes because acrylic, as you know, tends to dry down, so it gets a little bit darker as you go. So we'll put this out here. This is in front of us, a little closer in as we're walking towards it. Add a little more brightness to these rocks here. Don't really know how big these rocks are, but hard to say, right? As far as what's going on with how big those are. Let's do this. Let's do this. So, probably need to put some crenellations over on this wall. So we'll put some crenellations over here. Get a little dark. Go a little darker on the dark and gray here. And we'll just make some happy little crenellations right here. And they'll just live right there. Now, in all reality, these would be smaller as they go on down the line here, but we may go ahead and do that a little bit. Maybe we'll shorten some of these up a little. Yeah. And then we'll take a little bit of the dark gray black over here. A little dark gray black. And we'll put a little arrow loop over here. Take some gray. We'll clean up this arrow loop here a little bit. Just like that. Same thing here. Here. Take a little dark gray, put it right underneath. I want it to kind of show like it's sticking out. It's got a little trim over it, around it. It's got a bit of a frame there. Sticks out from the rest of the masonry around it. And then we'll take a little bit of this white, see if we can separate it out from some of the mix that it's been working in. And we'll put some little sheep over here. Put some sheep. Just a little sheep hanging out over here in the pasture. Maybe one or two up in here. I'm not very good at painting sheep, I'm afraid. But maybe they're hanging out right there. There's either sheep or lost, or these are polar bears that got lost. So I prefer maybe they are polar bears that got lost. I think that makes a much more interesting story. But maybe those little sheep are hanging out up here. One decided to get a little frisky, went climbing up in the rocks up higher. Yeah, I'm not very good at painting sheep, but we're gonna say there's sheep up there. Why not? So, I think for what it is, I think it's looking pretty good. We'll add a little white to this blue here. We'll lighten up a little bit more, and we'll take another pass at the sky. Yeah, it's not really supposed to be super representative here, but I mean, as far as being technically great, it's just it's a backdrop, so it's not supposed to be terrific. Giant mountain goats. Giant mountain goats. Well, they are in the mountains and they are pretty close to the sky, so you know, they're kind of close to the sky realms of the giants, right? So, a little fee fi fo fum. Maybe the giants, giant sheep have come down to graze on the greener. Maybe they got tired of oats. You know, maybe all they can eat is oats up in the sky, so they came down to eat some really nice grass right here by this cool, clean, clear mountain stream. It's a great thing you can tell all sorts of little stories of what you're doing, and nobody can stop you. You're not stuck in somebody else's IP. You can get stuck in your own imagination. IP, imagination personnel. So your own imaginations, your own thoughts. So we're going for a much lighter blue, a little blue-gray, a little bright, a little more bright than that darker blue that was there. Now there is an artist that I follow on the Twitter who her paintings look like photographs. And the way she paints clouds is unbelievable. I'll tell you what. I'm not even going to attempt. But I'm going to try to at least do some clouds in here. I think clouds are not a bad idea. So we'll just kind of scrumble some clouds in here. Very stylistic. I am definitely I'm definitely not Kate Avery. Her clouds are amazing. She does a lot of nature stuff. Fascinating. Just terrific. The way she gets grasses and grasses and flowers to look bright, the way the sun lights them up. She does an amazing. She's pretty amazing as far as that goes. So. Rank amateur here, but I have fun. Definitely an amateur hour here. I'm definitely better at painting miniatures than I am canvases. And these are just quick little guys, quick little things. Nothing that would be interesting to anybody but myself, I think. Aside from just the application that I'm painting these for, that's probably interesting to those of you who are, interested in painting miniatures, which I think is probably most of why anybody tunes into me. Which I appreciate you all being here. So, get a little more of this blue. We'll get the blue back into the background a little bit. We'll try to get some more darker blue, maybe back into the maybe back behind these, maybe back here needs to be a little bit darker. Sky gets a little darker the further down it goes. The further up you go, it gets darker, and the further down you go, it gets darker as far as towards the horizon. So we'll try to get some of that darker blue more into the horizon area back here. Kind of blend it up, blend it out. Oh, that just messed up. Maybe I should clean my brush. Looks like we got 5 people watching over on Rumble. Welcome, welcome, Rumblers. Even if you're not in chat, that's fine. The fact that you're watching is nice to see there. Appreciate you being there and cutting out some time out of your week to watch me paint. Maybe learn a thing or two yourself. I don't know that I'm necessarily the best teacher by any means, but I like to do what I like to do, and at least I can be enthusiastic and pass on some of that enthusiasm to you. I I'm going to be enthusiastic, and I'm going to pass on some enthusiasm to you. So let's paint these pictures together. But no, I really do appreciate anyone being here and watching on any platform that you choose. Platform of your choice. And you could be doing anything else right now, but you're here. That is highly encouraging to me. So thank you for being here. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of gray and a little bit of white. Mix that up a little bit. Get a little more white. Brighten it up just a little bit more. And then we're going to put some snow on these mountains. So that they look like I guess I was thinking of the theme from the Universal opening, Universal films. But I couldn't. But it. I was thinking Paramount, but I was thinking Universal as well. So it's kind of funny. So I don't know. I saw that the Fantastic Four trailer dropped today. So that's pretty cool. But I haven't had a chance to see it. The trailer, obviously. Don't know if the movie's going to be any good or not. Sometimes you can tell from a trailer, other times you can't. Of course, they put so much in the trailer anymore that it's kind of like, well, why even bother going to see the movie? They kind of they kind of give the why buy the cow if they give the milk away for free, you know? And I'm a huge fan of the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four and Green Lantern are actually my favorite superheroes. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I like Spider Man, I like Superman and Batman, and you know X Men. I like them all well enough, but my favorite ones were always Fantastic Four and Green Lantern. I have a little more gray to that. Just go this way. Now I tell you, I see why really great artists use oils. I'm sure great artists can use anything, acrylics and the like, but I can see the appeal of oils as far as work time, and they're not clumpy. Acrylics tend to be a little clumpy. It's just the way it is, I guess. So, all right. I think we're going to consider that one done for tonight. It's quarter till 11. Good time to knock off here. Clean up the brushes. Yeah, so there we go. There it is. Let's see, considering that my camera is a document camera, let's use that ability. Let's see if we can get a nice look at this. Fill the screen with that mostly. Pretty close. Pretty close. All right, so there it is, folks. Another backdrop for photography for miniatures. Can I have a little help with flesh tones? Sure can. Yes. We got a few minutes. You're having some trouble with flesh tones, you say? Let's see what you got. All right, is it in the Discord there, Kristen? Ah, yeah. All right. So, all right. let me let's see here. That actually, I mean, from the photograph, that looks pretty good. What exactly is there that you're wondering about? I got cat hair on my tablet. So, what exactly are you wondering about here? Because this looks really good, quite honestly. I mean, it goes well with your style. Is there what exactly are you concerned about? Because now, if this is just flesh painted, your flesh tone's just painted in, I could see where you might want to have a little bit more, definition around the lips and nose, under the eyes, usually under the chin a little bit. Now, what I usually do is I work in triads, as I've said before, and I think I've shown the flesh triad that I use, the fair flesh for the Caucasian style flesh. Um, let's see. Do I have any? Do I have any? Oh, let's see. Let's see. There's this fella here. This is Drinky the dwarf, and as you can see, what I did with him is I went with the shadow here, and I actually mixed a little bit of his hair color into the shadow just to kind of give a little more red tone. And then after that, I went over it with the fair skin, just straight up fair skin, and just got, I left all the recesses, that darker shadow color. I just kind of picked up there and there and there. That's what I did to get that. And then I've got this ice princess here, and I used a little bit of white and blue actually, and lightened up that fair skin tone there. And then I made especially sure to just get the tops of her shoulders a little bit, and the top of her forehead and her cheeks. So you're looking for that T zone basically from across the forehead down the nose. So, but I tell you, looking at this just as it is, looks like you got a good start. Did you put a little bit of pink behind the lips maybe? Probably the one thing is it's a little bit hard to tell here. So I definitely see some different coloration around the nostrils and the tip of the nose. So that's good. I would just say I hate to tell people to thin their paints, but you're going to want to work from here on out in glazes maybe. It looks a little on the thick side here. That could just be the picture though. 3 or 4 very thin coats is better than one big thick coat. But it looks like you did some under sketching already for the nose and the lips a little bit. So I really do like that because it gives us a nice gradient here. So I like that. But I would just lighten up this right here. Lighten this up a little bit. Maybe, and then just maybe work a glaze. Just kind of work your glaze around, and then just kind of go back and maybe just make a little bit of a wash or something. It's hard to say. Usually what I do, Kristen, is when I'm painting a figure, I don't have one in process right now. I don't have one in this process right now. Now, the troll I painted on Saturday, I started from the bottom up and worked my way up, but we knew that his whole thing was going to be the same color. Usually, say on a figure like this, I actually start out doing the face first. Think about getting getting dressed, right? So I do all the face, any skin, and then I do the clothes over top of it. So then I layer up, I layer out. That way I'm not trying to paint wet paint past dry paint. So, so here, you know, um, but I mean, it looks like you started. It kind of looks like you started that way though. So it looks like you did the face first, and then you did this because I don't see any stray. I don't see any stray paint out here. But you could just work up in glaze. What you might even do is you might even take the colors that you used right here, right? Especially this color right here. This is a good color. I like this. Put it back here, just underneath the cheeks back here, just underneath what they call the apples. You know, like you got your apples of the cheeks right here. I would just go back and just shade right here just a little bit maybe. And then you could glaze back over that. That's an idea. You don't have to do anything. I don't know if it helps at all. Um, Faces. I kind of have my process for doing faces, and it's very straightforward. You've got some nice blending going on here, and if I tell you the way I do faces, it won't be the way you're doing faces, but I can tell what you're doing here. Now, looks like the eyes are kind of covered up a lot by the hairstyle, which that's fine. I wouldn't even try to get the eyes. So, because this is actually a nice shade, nice gradient here. Unless the eyes are big enough, I don't know how big this figure is. So, okay, this figure is your basic, generally 28 millimeter scale size, right? 28, 32 millimeter scale. So, that's just usual. Hey, Myar, good to see you. How's it going? Thanks for stopping in tonight. So, we finished up this one that I started on last week. So, finished this background up this week, Myar. So there was that one. So now we're up to 3. I got a desert. I got kind of a mountain pasture. And I've got space above and beyond here. So I'm having a good time painting these backdrops. So yeah, so 32 millimeters. So at 32 millimeters, unless you are just unless you're just a masochist, sometimes it's okay to not worry about eyes so much. Now on this figure right here, I am going to be doing the eyes. In fact, I'm probably going to. This is probably the 3rd time I'm trying to get her eyes right. I've painted her eyes over white several times already, a couple of times. I just can't get it. But my mistake is usually the best thing to do is paint the eyes first and then paint the face. Eyes, face, clothes, hair, armor, equipment. Kind of that process. I like to start on the faces, any exposed flesh, faces, hands. I like to do that. So, but because the eyes are kind of hiding behind here, I think you've suggested them very well with the shading going on here. But if you wanted to throw a little bit of shading back here, it's just hard to tell in the photograph. I can't tell. Sometimes photographs have a tendency to break up a little bit, but we've got some pretty good resolution here. So, but hopefully that makes some sense what I've said. But overall, honestly, the face is the face is a focal point for sure, and you've made it nice and bright. And I do one thing I do like. I really do like this skin tone that you've got going on here. This is very pale, sort of Irish, Northern European. We don't get a lot of sun kind of a skin tone. I do like that. You've done a very good job on that. So keep it up. I think you're making good progress. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. I was watching a complaint maker. My wife watches and then a sculptor, it was nice to get some different art in. Oh yeah. I'm glad I'm bringing some different art for you tonight, Miar. So, but yeah, nice job, Kristen. Miar is on the Discord there too, so he can take a look at that a little closer, and he might even have some good ideas. Kristen, I'll tell you what, Miar doesn't say much, but Miar is an amazing painter. And you've probably seen his stuff over here on some of the other sections of the Discord server. So, all right. All right. Terrific. Well, everybody, it is that time. So, oh, you're more than welcome, Yar. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. And we are going to go to our title screen. Kristen says she's only been painting for 3 or 4 days, maybe off and on. Well, you definitely have a natural talent. Keep it up. So, it is that time. And we are going to sign off on Rumble. Good night to you. And we are going to sign off on YouTube. Good night to you, Tube.